everyone. Thank you for listening to Monroe Monday on this Monday, May the 9th. Hope everyone's having a great day so far. Had a great weekend. And enjoy it. One way or the other.
Well, it's Tuesday, isn't it?
Is it Tuesday? No, it's not. It's Monday. Here, move that a little closer to you there, brother. We have with us this morning Kerry Denton. I believe you're the chief police now, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you've been in the law enforcement for how many years
16 years now.
16.
Yes, sir. Started here and still here.
Still here. You grew up here,
I
right?
did. Frog give me a chance in 2006. Hired me and Jesse England and Jimmy Carter within about 2 weeks apart, and we're still going strong. Jesse's the assistant chief down there now. And
Yeah. Now, when you got that position, did you have any background as far as a police officer, or did you have to go to school, or?
no, sir. I'm still in the National Guard, and just decided that was something I wanted to do to try to help the community. That's pretty much a story for every police officer. That, they want to try to do something to help their little small communities and stuff like that, and it's being home.
Like you said, protect and serve. Mm-hmm. That's the motto for police officers.
I've got a couple of questions here, if you don't mind. When you first started, what was you had to go through a physical and, I guess, mental, and...
Yeah, we had all kind of requirements and stuff that we need to do. It's what they call a POPS test, where you have to go, do push-ups, set-ups, and lift weights and run a mile and a half, and then you had to sprint a certain distance from a certain time and stuff like that to make sure you was eligible to go to the academy, which at the time was an 18-week academy in Richmond. Now they bumped it up to 20 or 22 weeks.
Good gosh. Can you still do that?
Not as fast as I used to, good, but I can still get it done.
Okay, don't break out the handcuffs on me here.
now, like in the military, you have to do PT courses every year.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And does the police department have to do that too, or?
No, we don't have to maintain a PT test per se, but everybody there maintains a level of fitness. That way we can be the best version that we can be at our job.
Well, of course. Of course, you've got some military background. When did you go in the military?
Right out of high school, and I started in 1997, and still in there now.
Still in there now. So
Yes,
you're
25 years.
Still a 623rd then.
Yeah. So hanging in there like an old loose tooth.
Now they went through different scenarios. Of course, what I first remember, they actually had tanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
But
Now you tell the age, ain't you?
yeah, and then I think maybe from tanks they went to the missile launchers.
Mm-hmm.
The
The MLRS, multiple launching rocket system.
Yeah, I went to Fort Knox one time. They took a busload of people here, went up there and they done a live fire. Now you talk about jarring your guts.
Yeah, buddy, you ought to be sitting in one of them.
No, that's okay. But I mean, it's just amazing to me how easy. I mean, I always heard that they could take the tank out here, like the one that's sitting out there now, that's on display from Desert Storm, and they could fire that tank and drop that. I guess basically it was a ball at that time, wasn't it, or something?
That was before my time.
Yeah, but anyway, they could hit downtown Glasgow. I mean, they could hit the courthouse within a pretty easy perimeter.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about field artillery. It's precision fire. Long-range precision fire is what field artillery is.
What's long range?
Whatever you need it to be. We got some, well, I ain't going to get into all the specifics of our capabilities and all that stuff on here,
but it's a long way.
Yes.
Accurate for a couple of miles, 3-4 miles?
Oh, I'd say more than that.
Bowling Green.
I mean, that just amazes me that you could fire a missile and from here and like you say, hit Bowling Green.
Technology now is so much different than what it used to be. Everything is technologically driven. You got all your GPS systems and all that stuff. It's just totally different than what it was from catapults, where field artillery started years and years ago. But they had that down to a science too.
All right, we're getting away from the police department. We want to go back to the police department now. Like you said, you're chief of police.
Y'all know what we ain't done yet this morning?
What happened?
Happy Mother's Day, happy late Mother's Day to all the mothers over the weekend.
That's
I hope everybody had a safe and good Mother's Day over the
That's
weekend.
right. That's actually what I was sitting there scratching my head a minute ago. For hope everyone had a good weekend, and that's that's a shame that I forgot that.
Well, you better not let your mama be listening. She'll put knots on your head faster than you can rub them.
Well, I remembered it all weekend. It's just I slept since then.
Right.
What is what's your worst weekend? And I take it you're the busiest on the weekend. More things happen on the weekends.
No, not necessarily.
Really?
Sometimes there's quiet weekends and there's wide open Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. It's just, it all depends on, when the phone rings. There's no set time. I mean, in the summertime, our call volume goes up. Now that it's starting to warm up, people are becoming more active. They're outside more. You got more people going. In the wintertime, they don't like to get out and mess with the cold and all that stuff, so they stay in. And when it starts warming up, that's when people start getting out, moving around. You have more accidents. You have more people out walking all hours of the night, and people prowling around that ain't supposed to be, and your call volumes for, suspicious activity goes up and stuff like that. So
Does the moon have anything to do with it?
tremendously, yes.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what I was thinking.
I always thought that they was crazy when I first started. Frog would tell me, he's like, now it's going to be a full moon this weekend. You need to, make sure you pack your lunch and bring it with you, kind of thing. I thought, this old man's crazy. It didn't take me long to figure out Frog wasn't crazy. I was. There's something to that moon.
Well, what is it? Is it because it's lighter outside,
I don't know.
It's just
I don't know if it's
water?
a gravitational pull or what
Psychological.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bring up the crazy in you.
yeah, I guess so.
I can tell when the moon's full and you're here.
No,
I'm just kidding.
you're not.
Well, let's talk about some upcoming activities that, of course, the police presence.
Okay, well, as everybody knows, this weekend's going to be prom. We've got a pretty good game plan together. There are going to be extra officers on duty to facilitate that, to make sure we get everybody through the event safely. We'll be conducting road checks, sobriety checkpoints, to make sure that nobody's out driving under the influence. We want to make sure that we get these kids through their senior year and everything. Of course, we want to get everybody through every day, but these kids are coming down to a critical time in their life. They're getting ready to go to prom, and then they're getting ready to graduate. So we're going to step up our activity quite a bit. That's this coming weekend is prom, and then you've got
I think it's full moon too.
graduation coming
Friday
up.
the 13th.
Oh,
Oh, it is, ain't it? Oh. Then we got graduation coming up on the 27th. Again, we're going to have multiple officers down there to facilitate that and doing sobriety checkpoints for that and coming and going, keeping an eye on everything. And we've got a campaign coming up called Click It or Ticket. It's May the 16th through May the 31st. It's when we're going to be out checking everybody, make sure they're wearing their seat belts, making sure children are in their child safety seats and all that stuff. So
How,
it's gonna be a busy May.
I wear a seatbelt, but 9 times out of 10, I do not think about it till after I'm already on the move,
Mm-hmm.
and then I put it on.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to come out, and they may have stickers or something I'd like to put in my windshield, that every time that I got in my vehicle, I'd visibly see that click it or ticket,
Right.
just to remind me.
Well, you got that dinger in there. It goes off when you don't put your seatbelt.
Yeah,
on.
there you go.
Well, your older ones don't have a dinger,
Right.
I drive old stuff. But yeah, you do. You have. I think that was a good thing that they put on the newer vehicles. That it's finally going to annoy you that you're going to.
A lot of people don't like wearing seatbelts. I don't like wearing them either, but that's the law, and we have to abide by that. They've saved so many lives and so many accidents. You never know when you're going to have an accident or a collision or anything like that. So.
Oh yeah, in my age when I was growing up, a child was standing up in the middle of the seat or
Oh yeah.
sitting on their mom and daddy's lap or something,
Right.
But that's not allowed now, and it shouldn't be allowed
No.
because it's saved a lot of lives.
There's been a lot of extensive study and research went into that, the seatbelt stuff with the child safety seats and booster seats and stuff like that, and I have no doubt that it's saved many lives.
All right, let's take a little quick break, and we'll be right back with more. Welcome back to Monroe Monday, May the 9th. We have with the Chief of Police of Tompkinsville, Kerry Denton. And right quick, I was going to ask: does Gamay and Fountain Run do they have police?
Fountain Run does. I don't think Gamaya does at the time, but I know Sheriff Ford makes sure that those areas are covered with
Right.
all of his deputies that's on duty and everything. So, as far as being employed, I don't think Gamaya does, but
Right.
they
No,
still
that's-
have the coverage.
Right, I understand. Okay, let's talk about the police department. How many do you have on staff, and what is your staffing, basically, day and night? And
Well, we've got we're finally back up to our full total of 8 now. Thank goodness we've been able to acquire 2 pretty seasoned officers. Aaron Capshaw, he come on board with us, and then Timothy Osbrooks. He is a retired deputy out of Warren County. He got 22 or 23 years of service. Aaron's got 19 years of service. He come to us from the Kentucky Department of Parks, and they're both a great addition to our department. They're go-getters. They both bring a lot of knowledge and skill with them from their previous jobs and their history and everything that they've done. So I'm tickled to death to have them at the police department.
now, is there an age requirement for a police officer?
Yes, sir. For dispatch, 18 years old. They have to be 18, and then for law enforcement, to be a police officer, you have to be 21 years of old or years of age.
There's no ending date then, right? I mean,
No, sir. But you look at Johnny Graves and Sprocket and Don Wright and all them boys. They
Yeah.
was way on up there in the years, and they still got out there and policed. And well, you look at Frog too. He's near 70-year-old, and he's still out there every day, 5-6 days a week,
Right.
beating the brush.
Sure does. Of course, we appreciate the presence of our police. And so, how many usually have on duty at a time? It probably varies because, like you
It
said,
does.
you get those campaigns, so that's probably means more money.
Yeah, it's a state funded kind of thing for that, but we have a rotating schedule. We didn't have enough people to have a rotating schedule. We've got one now though that allows these guys to have 1 to 2 weekends off a month. That way they got time to spend with their families.
Right.
And that's critical in the line of work that we do. It's a high stress job. When you put a bulletproof vest and a gun belt on and go to work and you tell your loved ones, I love you, I'll be back this evening, you don't know if you're going to make it back home or not. So when you get that rotating schedule going, and you can get these officers time at home with their families and have that quality time, they need that to de-stress. So it's working out pretty good. I really like the schedule. And I'm going to go ahead and say too that the mayor and the commissioners that we've got now have been great to us as a police department. They've done everything that they can to make sure that we was fully staffed and we was able to get that rotating schedule. I mean, they've done really good.
Yeah. I've noticed in the past few years too that when a vehicle is pulled over for any particular reason, you have usually 2 or 3 backup.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of people say, well, that's just a little overkill.
Mhm.
I don't think it is,
Well,
because in this day and time.
Well, that's part of our training. You don't want one officer having to deal, because you don't know how many people's inside of that vehicle. You don't know if that person in that vehicle or all of them is, got active warrants on them or anything like that. So if you ever have many's on shift, if one makes a traffic stop and the other ones are not on another call or something, they're going to come back that officer up.
Yeah. Now, do y'all have body cams or
We do.
car cams or anything
We do.
like
We
that?
have body cams now, and we got policies in place for that, and works out really well.
Yeah, I mean, it covers your tail and also the person that's,
Yes, sir.
that way there's no, a lot of times there's a lot of lawsuits
Yeah.
thrown out there, for no reason,
Yeah, there
because
has been in the past, and that's really become a big thing in court. These body cams that we have, it's a tool for not only us but the prosecuting attorney and the defense attorneys and the judge, and it helps them make the decisions that they need to make.
And when you're doing a traffic stop, I mean, do you have to have a particular reason to stop a vehicle, or can you just randomly stop somebody?
No, you just can't randomly violate somebody's rights, but if there's some kind of traffic violation, or if you have probable cause, or reasonable suspicion, if there is a drug house in the neighborhood that we know of, and we observe a vehicle that pulls in, he's there at that house for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or maybe possibly see some kind of hand transaction between them, well, that's reasonable suspicion to conduct a Terry stop. And just kind of do an investigation to see if they have actually went there and purchased drugs and stuff like that. So
Now, where did that name come from, Terry style?
there's a big
Is that like from a lawsuit or something?
it's a court proceeding. I'd have to go back and look at all of it to give you the specifics.
But it's probably a name. Terry was a name or something.
The last name of the individual.
It was Terry.
Yeah.
What do you normally do? Okay, let's say I've got a tail light out,
Mhm.
and so you pull me over as a courtesy to tell me that I have a tail light out.
Mhm.
Do you normally go through? Do you have certain procedures you have to go through each time? Just like like I need to see your driver's license, your insurance.
Yes, sir. When we conduct a traffic stop, I mean, there's 3 critical things that we want to ensure that we get from the person. Make sure they have a valid driver's license, make sure they have current insurance, and make sure that their registration is up to date. Because, the reasoning behind that is we check all that to make sure that they're not driving on suspended license, or make sure they don't have any warrants or anything on them with their driver's license. We check their insurance status, because if they don't have insurance and they run over somebody in an accident or another vehicle or something, then that person that has been paying their insurance is going to have to foot the bill on that or seek restitution. So we just try to make sure that everybody on the roadways are abiding by the state laws and everything's covered. And
Okay, if somebody pulls up and they do not have insurance, or it's expired,
Mhm.
what's the next plan of action?
Well,
Do they?
if they don't have insurance, then their vehicle's not allowed to be on the roadway. It'll be impounded at that point.
So they have to pull over there. Say if you've got a roadblock and they come through, so they have to pull over right then, and then the car's impounded and somebody got to come pick them up or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And then before we can release the vehicle, it has to either be towed on a trailer, or they have to provide a up-to-date insurance card to prove that the vehicle is legal to be on the roadways.
Can you have your insurance on your phone?
Yeah, some people do. They have it on their phone, and we run into it, a time or two that they have to sit there for 10 or 15 minutes and try to remember passwords and all that stuff. And it's easier just to have a paper copy. Maybe you can call me old-fashioned or whatever, but if you can hand your license, registration, proof of insurance out the window, the officer can conduct his business right there, and everything looks good. You're on your way in 2 to 3 minutes.
Also, I was also told when I went through carry conceal class that you show that to the police officer too.
Yes, sir.
For their protection and yours, and of course a lot of times I show mine, but I don't carry a weapon with me. But they always say, do you have a weapon on you, or in your vehicle?
Right.
That's something that somebody needs to do.
It's kind of a mixed kind of thing with that too. Sometimes we might conduct a traffic stop, and we'll get up there, and they'll have both their hands up on the steering wheel, and they'll tell us right offhand, I have a firearm in the glove box, or I have one in the center console. I do have my carry conceal permit, just like they're taught to in the carry conceal classes. But there's some people that after we run them, then we find out they've got a carry conceal permit, and during an investigation, say, they're under the influence or something, we start searching the vehicle, and then we find guns and that we didn't know nothing about. And some people comply, some people don't. That's just the way of the world, I guess.
Okay. Throw another scenario. Go ahead.
Well, what is the biggest, probably the most, the biggest reason that you guys get called out to, let's say, a home or something of that nature? I mean, is it domestic disputes?
We have several domestic disputes, and like I was saying there earlier, it's warming up. People are out moving around. Some people just may see somebody that they're not familiar with in their neighborhood, and they, see them looking in the windows or just kind of looking over the property, and they'll call and ask us to come out and take a look and check, make sure that everything's okay.
So that's one of the biggest reasons that you guys go out to the home?
Yes, sir.
If you're having a traffic stop, well, not a traffic stop, but say a checkpoint, I pull up and I refuse to show you anything, what's the next thing you have to do?
It's state law to provide that. You get into the sovereign citizen group of people that don't believe that you're supposed to have any of that stuff, free will kind of thing, and then at that point we just have to do our job.
So you got to pull them over to the side and then go from there, then, right?
Yes, sir.
You guys are going to be out for graduation. Are there some other things that you guys are going to be doing? I don't know what to call them. Some other activities that you guys
we're just going to increase patrol. And like I said earlier, we're going to do some sobriety checkpoints. And of course, when the events are going on at the schools, there are going to be officers, numerous officers inside of the schools, just to make sure everything is going good in there.
And other than schools, though, are there other things that you guys have going on at this time in May?
Yeah, just that click it or ticket campaign, May the 16th through May the 31st. We got that going on. And then coming up in August, we have the Drive Sober, Get Pulled Over. It's August the 15th through August the 31st, I think. I don't have it in front of me. But
Well, let's talk about the drug dog a few minutes. When we had a drug dog a few years ago, and I don't know, did he pass away?
he did. Channing Kane, he had Jackal, really good dog. He come down sick. He was a good member with our team. Him and Channing both. They worked really well together, and it was a sad day when we lost Jackal. And then we was blessed, literally blessed by the community. Ricky Shirley was here, and he went around and talked to a lot of the business owners and stuff in town, and was able to get enough money to buy another drug dog, which is Rico. And Ricky had started his own business, and then Ty Hammer decided to take over the K9 role there, and he's done extensive training, and he works with Rico, and he is a great asset to our department, hands down. He's really good, fun to watch too.
Now, is he just a drug dog, or is he actually a full-fledged officer?
Yeah, he's a full-fledged officer. He can do tracking, he does bites, and he does the drugs and all that stuff, and he's all in one kind of package.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing to watch those dogs in action, and do exactly what, well, say Ty would be his controller or whatever,
Right.
And just by word of mouth, he could say.
Yeah, I mean, he listens to Ty's commands like, he's supposed to. Ty can tell him to do something, and he does it instantly. So it's neat to watch him, honestly.
Your command, you can command him.
I can. None of the other officers can, only Ty.
Only Ty can, because he's one-on-one with him.
Yeah, he's the certified, trained K9 officer for the department.
He goes home with him too, don't he?
Oh, yeah.
Lives with him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess Ty's called out at different times, probably when he's probably off from work. He has to bring the dog in or whatever.
He does. There's been a few times that we've had to call him. There's other departments that called and requested his assistance. He's had to go to Cumberland County and Metcalfe County, I think, to assist them over there on a couple of things. And I was talking to Frog last week. He's in the process of being able to get a K9 dog as well. So I think he's going to have a K9 officer and a K9. So that's going to be really good for Monroe County to have two K9 officers and two K9s out here on the streets. Because we got a bad drug problem right now. It just seems like it's taking over.
Has it gotten worse, or is it getting a little better?
Seems like it gets worse throughout the ages. So I told you earlier, I've been here for 16 years. When I first started in 2006, the alcohol and marijuana was about all you seen. Every now and then you'd see a pain pill or a nerve pill or something like that. And then it just seems like that kind of went away, and then they got into the old shake and bake method of the methamphetamine, cooking them in Coke bottles and stuff like that old dirty dope, some of them called it. And then it kind of graduated from that. Now it's went to the crystal meth, like what you would see come across the border of Mexico. And then there's heroin out there. And then now we've got a fentanyl problem that it kind of goes hand in hand with heroin. So throughout the years, it just seems like it's gradually progressed. People have got smarter and the drugs have got stronger.
Do you guys utilize drones?
No, sir.
Speaking of, like, when you might do a field sobriety test on a DUI. Do you do the same thing with somebody you think it might be in drugs? I mean, is there like a field sobriety test for them, or is that?
Well, our officers have had extensive training in DUI detection. They've been to a course. It's called ARIDE, Advanced Roadside Impairment Detection, is what it is, and it helps you detect indicators that is outside of the per se alcohol purview. It'll tells you about the consumption of marijuana, what the body does when it's consumed methamphetamine, what the body is going to do when it consumes narcotic, some type of pain pill or nerve pill. There's different indicators that your body gives, and all these officers are trained on that.
All right, we're gonna hit a little. I don't know if you want to call it a touchy subject, but I know they can sell legally now vapes that are laced with Delta 8, Delta 10, I think it's called,
Mm-hmm.
which is THC. Is that correct?
It's a synthetic THC, yes.
Okay. Does that impair a driver? Is that considered a drug?
Yeah, to a level it is, yeah. THC is going to be, it's marijuana. It is illegal. Now, how the state regulated that and decided that there was a 0.03% or less was what their cutoff limit was, I don't know how they figured all that part out. But when you're dealing with somebody, you can tell that they're under the influence, whether it's from a vape, a joint, or a pipe, or whatever. That's how they consumed it.
Yeah. Has that ever come up, do you know of, in a court system where somebody says, well, I was smoking a THC or a Delta 8 or Delta 10 vape? You know.
And at the end of the day, that is where the attorneys and the judge comes into play. You know, it's kind of everybody's got their own slice of the pie kind of thing. If we find somebody that is definitely impaired while they're operating a motor vehicle, we do what we have to do, and then it goes over to the court system, and they're the one that makes that.
Go from there.
Yes, sir. That final determination.
Sometimes probably gets aggravating because you're trying to do your job, and then a little loophole comes through, and they're back out doing it again. You know.
But you know, at the end of the day, though, Randy, you think about it for just a second. Win or lose in court, if that officer does his job that night and that person is under the influence, they're not on the road.
Exactly.
The people that are out on the road moving around, they're safe, and everybody goes home safe.
Speaking of that, if I'm driving down the road and say there's a vehicle in front of me and, you know, maybe they're swerving erratically, you know, and I may think they're under the influence of something,
Mm-hmm.
do I call the police department, sheriff's department? Do I call 911?
Yeah.
What's the best way?
911. It's the quickest way
Okay.
to get to where you need to. But I can say this: there is a time gap from dialing 911 and them being able to transfer the call to the proper location. So if you're inside the city, I would recommend calling the police department 487-6191. But if it's out in the county, you can call 487-6622. That gets you directly to law enforcement.
Put that in your phone.
Yeah, put that in your phone. That'd be handy. And then we do ask people that, you know, if you observe any kind of suspicious activity or somebody driving erratically, give us a call. I mean, that's what we're here for. At the end of the day, no call is not going to be answered. You know, it takes everybody.
It's like there's no stupid question if you don't ask
No.
it, you know. The same way, you know. I mean, I've seen sometimes I follow a vehicle and, you know, every once in a while somebody will swerve.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just normal. But, you know, if they continue to do it, then you know something's not right. Or,
Right.
you know, I mean, and it could be a health reason.
Yeah, and we've done that. You know, people has called in, and you know, you make a traffic stop, and it actually is somebody that's under the influence or drunk or whatever, or on some type of drug, and you know, that person that called, you've got there, and you've got that person off the street. That person done a service to the community by making that phone call. And so, there's been other times we've made traffic stops on reckless driver complaints, and it'd be some kid playing with their cell phone, trying to text or whatever the case may be, or it may be somebody that's having a diabetic emergency or something like that. And you know, we can make contact with them. We get EMS there and get the ambulance there and get them taken care of. So
I know we're not supposed to text while driving, but you see a lot of people talking on their phones. Is that illegal too,
well,
actually?
you're supposed to do a hands-free device. That's what you're supposed to do. Not everybody does it. A lot of cars nowadays are equipped with the Bluetooth capabilities and stuff like that, and you see several people with headsets on that they're trying to do the right thing. So,
Wow, this is really informative.
Yeah. Do you ever? I know you probably do, but do you ever really get any verbal people verbally against the police?
oh yeah, a lot of people that don't like us because we have to do our job. We have the ability to take away their freedom and all that, and some people don't like us. You know,
And you just have to stay calm and do your job and go on your way.
right? I heard an old officer many years ago. I won't say who it was, but when I first got started, he said, "I'm going to tell you something, young man." He said, "A lot of people are going to hate you until they need you, And then when you've done everything you can for them, they're going to start hating you again. And that made a lot of sense, and it still proves true to this day. But we have a lot of supporters out there. We got a lot more supporters than we got haters.
Yeah.